The conditions are actually so shocking that the slicks aren't making good contact with the tarmac. But the lap times, the car is clearly quite drivable, albeit a long way away from optimal grip. And the slicks would then give you the most contact patch with the surface and the most grip. But yeah, it can be in the Middle East, in these desert races, you just get this sand that comes across. And yeah, back then in GP2, there was no tyre blankets, of course. You had to try and get some heat into the tyres as well in that series, which Formula 1 has the benefit of the tyre blankets. And it was a write-off of an entire day. This is the sort of day where Sergio Perez must have got the schedule and thought, okay, Max does day one, I'll do day two, and it's worked out nicely, so long as tomorrow is an effective day. Obviously, the sand has got to blow off again, which it's going to take a long time to clean up, even with the drivers out there. So even if tomorrow is a lovely day, there's going to be still such a layer of sand at the moment. But well, we'll see when this wind blows over and we get the sun back out and back to Bahrain that we know and love.
Indeed. The Alpha was off the racing line there, and it's only getting worse offline. It's okay on the racing line right now, but offline it is ridiculously dusty. Max Verstappen continuing on his way, and the time earlier on was a 1:32.2 that he was posting as he emerges once again onto the pit straight.
Look, he's got a yellow nose tip on the Red Bull. We can still make him out. Still getting on with it though, Verstappen. 68 laps for the day. And who's the big loser so far from the day? It has to be Mercedes, doesn't it?
Yes.
6 laps across the entire day so far, with the gearbox issue for Bottas. And so far, no sign of Lewis Hamilton in the car either. So Mercedes, reigning champions year on year, have had, at least if there is a problem with the Mercedes right now, which is the reason that Hamilton's not going out, at least this is not...
we saw the screens up, and you're only allowed the screens up if there is a problem that requires the car to be worked on.
So there seems to be something else going on, but at least no one else is gaining really valuable data and performance analysis on their cars. But track time, they missed out this morning, and that was when the running was better today, at least, even if very difficult still.
Sven Ocon back out there with his 4th fastest time from earlier on, some way off the times, and last time around he did a 1:33.2. This morning he did a 1:32.9.
So he's done a fast lap just now, which is actually matched his time from earlier. So actually the track conditions must be getting somewhere closer, and you can see online it's looking a lot better. There's the Mercedes, covers are down. Where is Lewis? Can't see him in the car, and he's not in shot, but there's not a frantic amount of work going on that car, so maybe we're going to see the Mercedes pop out with Lewis Hamilton in it anytime soon. And everyone else can see that Ocon's just done a sensible enough lap time as well. You know that the conditions are getting better. He's just done a fast lap followed by a very slow lap, whether that's to try and recover some temperature from the tyres. The tyres will be getting very hot from just one lap. Already in Bahrain, it's very abrasive surface. Plus now you've got the heat, which is there and not always there when you get the racing under the lights here. And then you've got the layer of sand, which is just making the car slide around like Bilio. But Tsunoda's getting out of the way just from Verstappen there. But yeah, so the rear surface temperature is going to be soaring. So that's maybe why Ocon's done a slow lap after his fast lap, and he's still on that slow lap, actually doing a very slow one. Or maybe he's recharging the battery and doing it more like a fast, slow, fast, conventional run. Let's see what he does next time.
Yuki Tsunoda getting out of the way nicely in the background. 9th in the Formula 3 Championship of 2019. Took a long time into the season for him to get on the podium. Managed that in Belgium deep into the season, and then won his 14th race into the championship. Completely different driver, having learnt so much with that Pirelli rubber. And as you see, Charles Leclerc looking on. I'm not sure he's doing the pit board, but he's next to the pit board numbers and letters down there, just having a look at how daft conditions are on track as Verstappen goes by to complete another lap. And Nikita Mazepin with the DRS open. Appears to be confident enough to push right now. It is personal best in Sector 1. But from this rookie to another one, Yuki Tsunoda said his most pleasing moment was when he took pole position in Austria. Not the wins, not any of that, not finishing third in the championship. He said what meant a lot was coming to Europe and being faster than everyone else in just a very early stage in his career, and taking pole ahead of so many highly rated drivers that we had in the championship last year for Formula 2 gave him a lot of satisfaction. He built that momentum and built that momentum and built it all the way to Formula 1. A possible seat became a probable seat, and then he converted it by getting the championship result he needed. That was not confirmed when he last came to Bahrain to finish the last 2 rounds of the championship. And Nikita Mazepin is continuing for another lap. Mazepin 9th fastest at the moment, 1:35.4.
Qualifying was a real strength for Tsunoda last year, wasn't it? It was qualifying and very strong feature races, mixed with some trouble in the sprint races, just dropped him back off the top 2 in the championship. I'm excited for him. He's been really under the radar over the winter because there's been a lot of chat about the 2 drivers that are at Haas. One of them is this man, Nikita Mazepin, who's made some headlines over the winter. And obviously the son of one of the great drivers of all time, Michael Schumacher. You know, Yuki Tsunoda, this young Japanese driver that's come back in, it's highly promising, and he was very, very quick in Formula 2, and pace is 99% even of the job in Formula 1. If he can transfer that pace that he had as a rookie in Formula 2 into being a rookie in Formula 1, and he can give Pierre Gasly a hard time, but Gasly's shown over the last year and a half, he's got his feet under the table so well at AlphaTauri. He just gels with that team, and he's not going to be an easy teammate for Yuki to compare against.
Right, let's throw it down trackside once again with Martin.
Yeah, as Verstappen climbs the hill, they're struggling. Everybody's struggling for traction here out of this hairpin turn 8. The teams all owe it to each other to get, if they can, get their car out on track, because you can see, I heard what Jolien was talking about there, maybe there's a little bit more grip coming, but only absolutely on the racing line. So if you move over, I saw Tsunoda move over to let a car through. Massive sand everywhere. He must have filled the surface of his molten slick tyres immediately with sand. I can't imagine they were too much good after that. I love this spot at turn 8. You can see the direction change, heavy braking, rotate the car through the apex. He hit the apex curb a little bit, so you could see that the car jumped a bit. He had to hesitate to get on the throttle. It's all those tiny little moments that affect your lap. Maybe put a little bit more energy through your tyres. So just a tiny bit clumsy there for Tsunoda. Nothing more than that. As we watch Alonso coming down the hill. Yeah, decent traction on that. But once again, just so cautiously, you can hear them sort of squeezing the throttle pedal as if there's an egg underneath it that they don't want to break. We've got Verstappen coming through one more time, and there's the dust if you go offline. Let's watch this. Yeah, that's beginning to come together, there's no doubt about it. And flying the car along like they are now with the high rake of the Red Bull and the AlphaTauri. It's nice and soft as well in vertical stiffness, will be good over the curbs. And as Adrian Newey just pointed out to me not 15 minutes ago, you know, the amount of downforce they probably lost for 2021 is nothing like putting the Monza wing on versus a high downforce wing in Monaco, for example. So he's saying they can manage this. But so that's turn 8 for you. Dust is getting in my eyes every time I take my sunglasses off. The sun itself is still trying to burst through the sandstorm. And back to you in commentary.
Thank you very much, Martin, as we go on board with Yuki Tsunoda. And you could see the sand offline, you could see the sand collecting on the top of the tyres there. All the years that Martin Brundle has done behind the microphone, and still, day 1 of testing, trackside, giving us all the insight and getting a load of sand in way of pavement.
This has got to be one of those bleak days for him, I think. Pre-season testing right at the start of Bahrain, and very few cars out on track. Sand in his eyes, trackside at turn 8. Watching Yuki Tsunoda actually do a personal best on that last lap. He didn't look like he was clean on the throttle, as Martin said, but hooked up all 3 sectors nonetheless, and got up to 8th place ahead of Roy Nissany and Mazepin, Schumacher, Bottas and Giovinazzi, who have all not done that much running. But Tsunoda getting up to speed a little bit more.
We saw the graphic there as Lewis Hamilton got into the car. Sir Lewis Hamilton, knighted at the end of the season, having climbed level for the most titles in the history of the sport. And fantastic stuff for him to receive that recognition for one of the great sporting achievements. There's no arguing with that. But can he break new ground? Can he go for the 8th this year? Either way, it's going to be historic, one way or the other. It's either 8th for Lewis or a 1st for the drivers that we expect to be in contention.
Or a 5th for Sebastian Vettel.
I love it. I wondered if you were going to go. I finished that sentence. I was like, how would everyone?
A 2nd for Kimi, a 3rd for Alonso.
If there's a 2nd for Kimi, we are in for one of the great seasons.
One of these shocks as Alfa Romeo come to the fore. No, Lewis is going to be the overwhelming favourite for this season. The Mercedes car and the Mercedes team have just been so good for so long, and the rule changes, they're not sweeping. And the hope is for everyone else, particularly Red Bull. They took the fight to Mercedes at the end of last year, but Mercedes, they did stop developing their car from last year to focus on some changes for this year. We've seen the new floor that they brought out. That'll be a long time in the pipeline for them. I mean, Red Bull and everyone else has got to be hoping that that's not a big game changer for them, because at the end of last year they were close, but they've got a habit of finishing years very well, starting years very poorly, and Mercedes certainly angled themselves towards that with the way they were trying to, well, not upgrade their car last year and focus on this one. So Hamilton's the big favourite.
Roy Nissany with a moment coming out of turn 11, gathered it all together, and only minor really. This is what it looked like trackside.
He was very tentative in the first place, Nissany, not barrelling a lot of speed into the turn 11, and he was probably thankful for that when he had that big oversteer, just catching it slightly wide. George Russell showed what he could do as well, and maybe in some ways, if Mercedes are capable of going through, Valtteri Bottas' contract as well is up at the end of the year, so we're going to see some change of some sort at the end of this year at Mercedes. That is my strong prediction. I think Bottas had a tricky time of it here when George Russell made his debut with the team at Mercedes. That was a really tricky weekend, and he's going to have to bounce back really strongly against Lewis this year to really state his claim for that seat. But Hamilton's one-year deal, that's going to get people talking over the summer, I'm sure.
had them talking all the way into 2021 before it was announced, the one-year deal. Bit of speculation whether if it was a championship win, it would then be followed by retirement. Another school of thought is that Lewis is copying the